Thank you. Appreciate it.
You didn't answer my question, though.
I'm doing great.
That's good. I'm glad
Friday.
to hear that. It is Friday. That's very exciting.
Indeed.
Yeah. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome back to another very special edition of Between Two Friars. I have an esteemed guest with us here today, Todd D. Snyder. What does the D stand for, Todd? Don't care. I have some comments here from Rate My Professor. Do you feel that you're providing a challenging and engaging education here at Siena College?
I'm doing my best.
You're doing your best.
I'm trying.
Yeah. Well, this first comment begs to differ. Take all of his classes for an easy A.
Well, it's good for business, if nothing
Good for
else.
business, yeah.
Sure.
Good for business. You like to get close to people on campus, establish good relationships, I assume.
Yeah, do my
Yeah.
best.
Again, doing your best. Well, it's not enough. He didn't learn my name all semester, which seemed odd considering everyone else had a good personal connection with him.
We're not all perfect, I suppose.
Yeah, but you are a public speaking teacher, right?
Yeah, something like that. I like to think of myself as...
Interesting.
Yeah, sure.
You have an office to yourself in Kiernan?
I do at the moment. Yeah.
Yeah. So after reading these comments, who did you blackmail to get that office?
Well, my office mate retired a few years back, so we're waiting for someone to fill that void, I suppose.
Good. Do you think there's anyone else more qualified to fill that void than you? Because I have an answer.
Go ahead.
The answer is yes. Yeah.
Probably so.
Yeah. But that's okay, though. You know, even if you were blackmailing someone, blackmailing takes dedication. Right?
Ambition, if nothing else. Right?
Ambition, yeah. And you seem to be a fairly dedicated and ambitious person.
An easy grader, apparently.
Well, that's true. And one might even call you an overachiever. You've published many books.
A couple.
Was one not enough?
You know what? I haven't found anything else I'm good at, so, you know, for now I'm
Checks out.
going to stick to what I'm good at.
That's good. Well, that's enough about whatever things you did. Why do you look like the third property brother?
Well, unfortunately, I'm not too handy around the house, so
That's okay.
It's just a look.
Yeah. Well, you look like the one that, hides the bodies in the walls that they tear down.
Okay.
So that's good, because
All right.
even if you're not handy, it doesn't matter.
I'll take it.
Yeah. Like, why are you trying to look so mysterious? What are you hiding, aside from bodies?
You know what? Hiding the fact that I'm an easy grader, apparently.
Yeah. Well, not hiding it very well, I guess.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I've been outed.
Yeah. Yeah. On the topic of your visual choices, who dresses you?
I dress myself on most days.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right. You've been called fashionista here on campus.
I wasn't aware of that.
No?
No.
I was going to ask who you paid to write that and if they're still taking commissions.
Is that from Rate My Professor as well?
I'm not sure, actually. We're getting information from a lot of different sources.
A lot of different sources, okay.
Yeah, you're being talked
Well,
about.
you know, dressing the part's half the battle, I suppose.
Yeah, that's true. But speaking of all these different sources, you're familiar with literature. You've written books.
Yeah, a few.
Yeah, so you're also familiar with slander, correct?
Sure.
Right. Yeah, you said you were nervous to come here because we beat up poor Dr. Iddings.
That is true.
That's
I mean,
true?
You know, I have watched the episode. It was an interesting interview.
Yeah. Well, interesting, sure, but beat up, that's a pretty serious allegation.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe that's taking it too far.
Yeah.
You know, it was an uncomfortable experience watching that. Yeah, it's a dear
There's-
colleague of mine.
There's no on-camera proof of any.
No physical beating.
Exactly, right, no on-camera proof. Your father was a boxing trainer.
That is true.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Why aren't you Rocky?
You know what? I'm a much better writer than I am a fighter, probably. So, you know, I did box when I was in high school, and you find out real quick if you like it. And
Yeah.
I moved on to other things.
That's fair. But it's good that you had some experience. Your father was pretty hands-on
Sure.
in that way. In the training process, I'm curious, because I don't know a lot about boxing. Did he help compensate for the fact that you were a foot shorter than all of your opponents?
Well, the thing is, you can be short at boxing. You know, I fought at 135 pounds. So
Wow.
most people who weigh 135 pounds are pretty short. So in boxing, it's one of the few sports where you can be any size and do it. And that's probably why I gravitated to it. Because as you pointed out, I was not built for basketball or any sport that requires inches.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting that, really anyone can box, but you still decided to not do it. I think that says something.
Still gravitated to other things. You're correct.
Yeah. Do you ever think about getting back in the ring, or?
Not at all.
No?
You know, I do love the sport and follow it, and then I've written books about boxing. It is a passion of mine, but
Yeah.
I'm probably better outside the ring.
So you're not going to fight Jake Paul?
No, although I don't think he fights anyone remotely close to his age.
No.
Not lately, at least.
Fair enough. But speaking of Jake Paul, we saw that you met Mike Tyson.
Yeah, I've worked with a lot of top boxing people. I've
Yeah.
interviewed a lot of folks for the books I've written about boxing and hip hop culture, and I didn't meet him physically. I've got a picture with him.
Oh, okay. So it didn't really matter.
No, I wouldn't say I know him.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask you, if you were to train him, do you think he could have beaten Jake Paul?
You know, I was at Tyson's final fight back in 2005, I think it was, and he was way past his prime then. So I was sort of sad to see him get back in the ring last year. So I think Mike should stick to doing something else outside of boxing, just like me and all the other folks that are getting up there in age.
Gotcha.
It's a young man's sport.
You don't think you have what it takes then? That's
Not anymore.
Good to know. Well, you've met a lot of famous people, boxers, rappers, authors. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Who's your favorite one that hasn't been exposed for sex crimes?
This is the thing about hip hop. Sometimes folks do have checkered past, and maybe that holds up for boxing too. We've brought a lot of famous hip hop folks to campus. I think maybe my favorite visit was Chuck D from Public Enemy was here about 8 years ago.
Very exciting.
That was cool.
And your favorite one that has?
I don't know if I have a favorite. There's a lot to choose from.
There are a lot to choose from, that's for sure.
We vet our speakers pretty thoroughly before we bring them to campus. That would be a red flag.
Oh, good. But you never really know, do you?
Well, not these days, unfortunately.
Mm-mm.
It was a rough year for hip hop last year.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
It's not okay. Speaking of rappers, if you could bring any rapper into your class to speak, how would you resurrect Tupac?
You know what? You may have nailed it right there. I think if I could have interviewed any rapper in history, it would have been Tupac Shakur.
Yeah.
Although he definitely has his checkered past as well.
Mm-hmm. I'm curious, what about him is so compelling to you?
He was probably the first rapper who was bigger than hip hop. He was hip hop's first legend, perhaps.
Very interesting. Yeah. Tell us the most embarrassing thing you can about Joshua Iddings.
Dr. Iddings, I don't know. You exposed a lot in your interview with him. He was in the Achy Breaky Heart video with Billy Ray Cyrus, which is, I think, trumps all the famous people I've met and interviewed. I've never been in a music video quite of that stature. I would have to be in a Miley Cyrus video to top that. So.
Yeah, well, you're kind of changing the topic here, which is fine, because I can tell you the most embarrassing thing about you. You're quoted here saying,
"Oh no,
Drake is innocent." Can you explain that one?
I don't know who quoted me on that.
Does it really matter though?
If I had to pick sides on there, I think I'm rocking with Kendrick. If I had to pick sides in the beef, interesting moment in hip hop last summer.
Yeah.
But I'm not willing to declare his innocence in any way, shape, or form.
A little late to the game though.
Yeah, maybe. That was a 2024 thing.
Well, it was very exciting to have you on today. I think we've learned a lot. But before you go, there's one more thing. You have some experience in the film industry, correct?
Little bit.
Little bit, yeah.
I'm a novice for sure.
That's good to know. Did you know that I want to work in the film industry?
I did not know that.
Well, you do now. And before you go today, I'm going to need names and numbers from you.
Yeah, you know what? Let me put together a spreadsheet. Like I said, I'm retired. I don't think I can keep up with you. So.
Well, that's good, because I'm going to need them right now. So.
I'm gonna get on my phone and send those your way for sure.
Good. Okay. Lock that door, please.
All right, sounds great.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get right on that. Directors, producers.
In here.
Everything. Yeah, it's gonna happen. Like I said, I'm past my prime. I've lost a step. I'm like Iron Mike. Sound good?
Sounds great.
All right. All right. I'll get on that right now. Does that sound good? Mm-hmm. All right. We'll be in touch. All right. All right. Thank you very much. Keep doing great work.
Thank you.
You're going to win an award for this show.
Shocker, we haven't.
Thank you. Have a great time.
Have a day.